Joe in Colorado Springs.
Hey, I talked to you guys last week, man. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
All right, so the question I want to ask you is, I've talked to a lot
Are
of
you?
atheists.
Which one are you? Were you the Calvinist?
I'm the Calvinist.
Okay. Welcome back. I'm gonna limit you to 5 minutes because I don't want to take the same callers every week. But just so you know.
I just had a question I want to ask, man. I was talking to a couple of atheists. I normally actually always do. And what I wanted to know was, when you get into a debate or a conversation with an atheist, they'll say that obviously, Christianity makes a claim that there is a God, and there is a burden of proof that comes along with that. And if you study anything I'll call hermeneutics, the study of language and how language changes time, you can get into that too. But my point is that atheism isn't this definition that everyone ascribes to it, that the lack of a belief in God. It's the belief that there is no God. That's a claim, and I think that both parties have an equal responsibility for a burden of proof.
If I say that I'm an atheist and I clarify that what I mean by atheist is that I don't have a belief in a God, what does it matter if you agree with that definition or not? I'm just telling you what I think.
Because that's more or less a definition of agnosticism. Atheism is the belief that there is no God.
No, it's not.
It's the lack of a belief.
John, I'll let you take this one. You've been very quiet.
If you'd like to conflate atheism and agnosticism, then how would you define agnosticism?
You're mistakenly assuming that they're two distinct things. You can be an atheist agnostic and you can be a theist agnostic. They're not mutually exclusive. Atheism is just the absence of a belief in God, and there's no burden of proof there. You're saying there is a God, and I'm saying I don't believe you.
And but you're making okay. That's not what here's the thing, man. Then you're basically saying that, because an agnostic can say the same thing. There might be a God, but I don't know.
An agnostic can say, I believe there is a God, but I don't know. Do you see? It doesn't give you any information about what you believe. It gives you information about what the person knows or claims to know.
But yeah, the fact that they can also say that I don't believe there is a God kind of gets you out of that ballpark of being able to say that, man. You kind of have to make a claim, too, stating there is no God. That's what the definition of atheism is.
Well, some people claim there is no God, and I would agree that whatever you call that person, they have a burden of proof. But atheism, but atheists, most atheists define the term as lack of a belief in God.
I don't think that's consistent with what the term means then. I mean, obviously, if you want to, atheism was originally directed towards Christians, so we were the original atheists anyway, so, but you know what I'm saying, man. I think that if you're going to take the position of being an atheist, man, there is some burden of proof to prove that there is no God, and that's pretty much, I understand what you're trying to do, man. I just don't agree that you can't conflate terms and then
well, I don't
you can't just conflate,
I don't think there's any conflation.
Terms.
I don't think there's any conflation going on. I think you just have a different opinion about what the word means, but don't you think it's kind of arrogant for a theist to tell atheists what that term means?
I mean, yeah, I mean, it is kind of arrogant. I'll admit that, man. But we get that too all the time, man. Just up until the person who had me call into your show last week, for 2 weeks, he was sitting and insulting me and telling me that I was a troll because I didn't agree with traditional Christianity.
I was here last week. I didn't say that.
No, not you. It was the person, not the person.
Somebody he was talking to.
Oh, okay.
So the person who told me, they're in the chat room right now, actually, but the person who told me to call in, was doing the same thing to me. So, I mean, I think it happens on both sides.
Well, regardless, do you accept that when I say atheist, what I mean is I don't accept belief in a God?
I accept that you are not claiming there is no God, but I think that...
Okay, so what, I mean, well, you're talking to me right now, so what difference does it make what general definition what you think the general definition should be?
Well, I wouldn't, if you take the position of that you don't know, I wouldn't call you an atheist. Call you an agnostic.
I don't care if you call me an atheist. I call myself an atheist, but it doesn't matter to me what words you use.
Yeah, but that doesn't seem to be what the. I'm just saying, man, that in order to have a clear cut.
I think who would you say is an atheist? Like, can you give me an example of like a well-known person who you think is an atheist?
Dawkins.
Dawkins has said, I'm not 100% certain that there's no God. He had this like scale where he was like, if there was a scale from like 1 is absolute certainty that there is a God and 7 is absolute certainty that there is no God, I'm like a 6.9. So if you don't accept that definition of atheist, then Dawkins isn't an atheist.
Well, I've never heard him say that. I've heard him.
It's in the God Delusion.
I have that book. I haven't gotten that far yet. I'm actually reading that right now.
I'm just telling you, it's in there.
Can you give me kind of an idea where? Because I want to go.
I read it like 10 years ago, so I'm afraid not. But I mean, you should probably be able to Google it. Like Richard Dawkins 6.9 probably would do it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I will. Man, I have it. I'm actually reading his book right now. So.
Cool.
And I'm also reading. What is it? What was the last one that Hitchens put out?
God is Not Great. I haven't read that one myself.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I'm reading that right now too.
I think if you take anything away from this conversation, though, it's that agnostic is not a separate category. You can be agnostic and be a theist. In fact, I think if they were honest, most theists would say they're agnostic theists because nobody's absolutely certain of anything. So there's not theist, agnostic, atheist is 3 different things. They're completely separate questions.
Well, I'm going to have to look into that, but from my understanding of the term, as of right now, it seems atheism makes a claim and has to defend that.
All right. Well, that is not how we use it, but we're going to move on. Sorry.
All right. You guys have a good day.
All right.
You
nice
too.
talking
Thanks,
to you.
Joe.